What is going on, family? Thank you for joining me today on the 713 Fitness Coaching Podcast. Today, we are going to talk about wellness. Actually, in the coming weeks, we're going to talk about wellness. I think sometimes wellness gets a bad rap, or I know wellness gets a bad rap because we think that wellness is just your physical activity or your exercise or your concept of nutrition. And physical wellness is so much more than that. Today, we are going to talk about physical wellness and cultural wellness. We will find that those two will really coincide with one another. How we get along with one another will impact our physical being. And over the coming weeks, we're going to talk about the other dimensions of wellness, how they all roll up into one to make a complete picture of our wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today. Stay tuned for the 713 Fitness Coaching Podcast. What is up, family? Thank you for joining me today on the 713 Fitness Coaching Podcast. Today we are talking about wellness. Do you know what wellness is? I say this because I've had conversations with people and we kind of group fitness and wellness together, and rightfully so, but we make them equal. And that is actually not right. I'll give you some definitions, and this comes from Thomas Fahey, who has actually a textbook out called Fit and Well, Core Concepts and Labs in Physical and Wellness. This comes from the 14th edition. Health is an overall condition of the body and mind of a person in the absence of illness or injury. So that's kind of how he defines health. Wellness is to achieve optimal or favorable outcomes and living a life to the fullest in regards to health. And within that, you're making a conscious decision to control the risk factors that are involved in your health and your wellness. So fitness kind of rolls up into that. It rolls up into health. So when we look at wellness, there are actually 9 dimensions to wellness. There's physical wellness, there's emotional wellness, there's intellectual wellness, intrapersonal wellness, cultural wellness, spiritual wellness, environmental wellness, financial wellness, and occupational wellness. So all of those factors contribute to the health and the wellness of a person, and they're uniquely interlaced. To give you an example, if I have a poor occupational wellness practice, or if I'm always at work, or I'm always stressed about work, am I going to feel like working out or doing movement based off of working 12, 14, 16 hours a day? There are some who can. There are some, possibly many, who can't. If I am not financially well, am I even going to think about physical wellness? Or I'm tied to my occupational wellness, because if I'm financially strapped, I don't think about my physical or my cultural or my environmental. I'm only thinking about occupational, because that occupational wellness is going to help me get over my financial wellness. So we need to take some inventory, some personal inventory on all 9 of these dimensions. Today, I'm only going to handle basically 2, and that's the physical wellness and the cultural wellness, because I think in this day and age, in this climate, these two are uniquely tied together. And as we know, physical wellness is important to me, and cultural wellness is equally important to me also. So physical wellness, let's talk about physical wellness for a second. When we talk about physical wellness, I'm not just talking about, are you proficient at doing cardiovascular, or are you proficient at doing flexibility or mobility or anything that has to do with your exercise program. Your exercise program is only one part of the dimension of physical wellness. Here are the things that we include in on physical wellness. They are eating well, exercising, avoiding harmful habits, practicing safer sex, recognizing symptoms of disease, getting regular checkups, and avoiding injuries. So your fitness life, your gym life, or your activity life is one part of that. That's exercising. And if you know, this is the time of the year when everyone starts to think about cutting calories or this, that, and the other, and we're going to get into that in a second. But eating well rolls up into your physical wellness. And think about your mental state. If all you're doing is you have this preoccupation to how many calories you can't take in, if you're denying yourself, what kind of patterns are you setting in your own head? What type of destructive patterns are you setting in your head, saying you can't eat this or you can't eat that because it's going to quote unquote make me fat? Think about avoiding injuries. When you think about avoiding injuries, that can be simply if you work out 5 days a week and you have this goal in your head that you need to be under a certain weight or be a certain place. So you now work out 6 or 7 days a week and you're working out very intensely. The chances of you getting injured because of it now increase. So you're not paying attention to one part of physical wellness, which is avoiding injuries. Avoiding injuries mean you're not overtraining. You're not overtraining because you're not focused or hyper-focused on a goal that might not be realistic. So when we break this thing down in physical wellness, there are a lot of factors that go in there. So let's think about that when we talk about classifying physical wellness. To pick back up where we left off with physical wellness, I think two of the things that really plague us the most in fitness right now are two very big topics. One is overtraining, and the two is undereating. We all know that we can overeat, but there's a tendency now to where we are on eating plans that restrict calories and restrict food intake so much in the effort to get to a short-term weight loss goal. And in that statement, short-term, and I'll say it again, short-term weight loss goal. The issue tends to be once you get to that goal, what happens? Can you maintain that goal or that goal weight of where you are? Or even if it's quote unquote fat loss, which I have come to really hate that term fat loss, because you're making the assumption that you're going to lose all of the fat in your body. And we all know that there is body-wide a level of fat that we need in our body just for daily processes. But those two things, overtraining and undereating, almost go together. I think people are pushing themselves, and you're pushing yourselves based off of this goal or this need to be perfect. And I said it on the last show, is start every workout or every plan thinking that you're not searching for perfection. You're just trying to be the best that you can. You're not comparing yourself to a person next to you. Because like I said on the last show, the quote was, to compare is to despair. We do not need that. And I think that will help people set themselves up to make the right decisions. Yes, if you need to medically, if you need to lose weight because it is becoming unhealthy for your joints or unhealthy for for organs in your body or for your posture, then let's sit down and let's go over strategies to help you get to that goal. Now, overtraining. Listen to me. If you are training more than 5 days a week, you are overtraining. Look at the example of professional athletes, and I'm talking at the highest level, track athletes. NFL, baseball, softball, volleyball, pick the sport, pick the gender, whichever. They do not train more than 5 days a week. And when I mean 5 days a week, I mean intensely. There's a very big difference between physical activity and exercise. For those of you who are exercising 5 days a week, and nowadays the push is to do higher intensity because higher intensity, quote unquote, burns more fat and saves time. Think about that. You are putting your body through some very, very intense protocols, and those protocols lead to injury. If you get injured, even if I agreed with the fact that you wanted to lose this tremendous amount of fat or this tremendous amount of weight, if you're injured, guess what? You can't get to that goal. So you need to take care of your body. The human body can only do so much. I know you can push it past certain thresholds, but you're admitting that there is a ceiling. And if you hit that ceiling, the only place you can go from there is back down. So let's look at overtraining. If you're 5 days a week, an hour and a half to 2 hours a day, I wonder how many of us know what the recommended daily activity amount. It's 300 minutes per week if you're doing moderate intensity. If you're doing higher intensity or vigorous exercise, then it's 75 minutes a week. If you're piping along at 2 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, that is 120 minutes times 5. That's 600, possibly 720 minutes a week. And now take that, and if you're eating 1,200, 1,300 calories, if you're eating calories that are so restrictive, your body cannot keep up that level of activity with that little bit of fuel. It may work for maybe a week, but what's happening in that week is you're shocking your system and your body's going, what in the HE double hockey sticks is going on? I can't sustain this for long. So now I have to do stuff to make me sustain this. So it's going to slow down your metabolism. This is not physical wellness. This is actually detrimental to your physical wellness. If you get injured on top of that, the injury, you taking responsibility for the injury is not practicing physical wellness. So my thought process is, or my thing that I always try to get people to do, is to journal, write everything down, see how much activity you're doing, what kind of activity you're doing, and then see your caloric intake to see if there needs to be a change in what you're eating. And I don't care whether you're a vegan or whether you're a lacto-ovo vegetarian, or if you are you could be even a keto person. The calories are the calories. You can't, if you're not eating enough, it is going to, you're going to affect your body in a way that's negative. Now we can have this discussion, and we've had this discussion about veganism versus keto, and that is a forum for another time. But this is specifically about wellness and you making the right decisions to make sure that you are physically well. So I want to shift gears a little bit and let's talk about cultural wellness. It's not that I'm forgetting about physical wellness, but I want to draw that direct line from physical wellness to cultural wellness. When we talked about physical wellness, there were 7 tenets that went along with physical wellness. With cultural wellness, there's only 3. But those 3 are so impactful. So with cultural wellness, there is creating relationships with those who are different from you. Second, you want to maintain and value your own cultural identity. And third, you want to avoid stereotypes. And think about those 3 things and how they impact our physical wellness. as I've said before, I come from a background where, as a youth, an overweight youth, the only outlet for me to exercise was to get out on my bike or to go walk. There was no going to the gym. The only gym was what they termed the field house on base where we lived. And more times than not, there were still restrictions that were put on you when you went into that facility. There was no programs that were driven for me. Yes, we had activities for youth like football or basketball or whatever. But if you were that awkward teen like I was, you didn't really fit in. And it wasn't until I got older that I found my niche, and that's how I got into the fitness field. But think about the implication of that, developing relationships with those different from you. I was fortunate that I was forced, for lack of a better word. If you're going to be a military brat, you are forced into the position where neighbors are different from you. They come from different areas. So that being thrust in that position, you adapt to those around you. Now, of course, I could have gone the other way and not forged relationships, but truth be told, those relationships are ones that I treasure and have been with me throughout my adult life. But the second tenet is maintaining your own cultural identity. That's the part that was lost for me. So when you get to this, you have to fit this mold of wanting to be more like your white counterparts to be accepted. Now take that and put that into this realm of fitness. Right now, there is this thing where the litmus test for us or for anyone when it comes to health is a skinny white woman or a skinny white man. And that is wrong. People come with different sizes, different bone structures, different muscular structures, but it's that narrative that's being written as the one that we need to adapt to. And what that has done is created a lot of blowback throughout the industry. When I started, you did not see a lot of people of color working out because it was thought we weren't going to fit in, so we weren't going to go in. And it wasn't until I went to teach at a club in the inner city of the area where I was that I saw a thriving community. But then the goal or the focus of exercise or group exercise had very little to do with weight loss. It had to do with community. It had to do with exploring and celebrating who we were as African American individuals. And that was kind of like a light bulb for me that turned on. And it was at that point that I really started to look at who I was as a Black man in this industry. And I stopped trying to fit into the mold that other people were trying to force me in. And that's where a lot of these crazy stereotypes come in. Like, people in the beginning of my teaching, people wouldn't come in to take my class because they were afraid that I was going to play, jungle music. And they realized that there was more substance to me than what was being played. Now, I will say I am a hip hop head till I die, but I didn't come up in the hip hop generation like a lot of people. I kind of got into it because of fitness when I started to explore who I was as a Black man in this industry. So I say all of that because my wellness, I had to go a very long way to figure out that part of my wellness. And I'm still working on it. There are things that I am learning each and every day about me, about the foundations that my mother and father and grandfather laid in me that are now coming to light through things like music, through things like why we eat, when we eat, and what we eat. But now it's up to me to change that narrative. And when I change that narrative to now make it more mine and maybe adapt it to a more healthy lifestyle, I control my narrative and not a person who is the editor-in-chief of a magazine or a photographer or a filmmaker. So there is a correlation between our cultural wellness and our physical wellness. Because of the culture that we live in, we have created this monster, and this monster has taken all of us, or most of us, and we've developed poor self-images of ourselves. And because of that poor self-image, our physical wellness practice have suffered. We don't see physical wellness as a path to health. We see physical wellness as just working out to pay penance for eating wrong, or what we perceive to eat being wrong. And we have to change that narrative. We need to develop systems where we will boost how we feel about ourselves, because that will create more positive experiences when we go into health clubs. You can go in to any workout anywhere and not feel like you have to compare yourself to who's next to you or who's around you. Your health is your health. Sally Sue or, Jimmy next to you, if you're a male, doesn't define or dictate who you are as a person. And they definitely don't dictate your health status, because truth be told, if you are in a regular physical wellness practice, you could be healthier than them. So that old adage of looks can be deceiving can definitely apply. And I want to make sure that we are taking the steps toward that. And it starts with make sure that you're keeping track. It doesn't have to be an exact science, but figure out what you want to do with your wellness practice. Pick some goals, some short-term goals. And yes, listen, if they are weight loss, let's just start with trying to make our heart healthy, trying to take stress off of joints. And if that is not you, then just exercise because you like being outside, or you like hiking, or you like playing basketball or football, or whatever it may be. So look at exercise and physical wellness, not from the negative side, but from the positive side. Well, family, I am going to end it right there today. Remember, this is not the only time we're going to talk about these two. There are 9 different dimensions to your wellness, and I'm making this the first part in a 9+ part series. So I want you to stick with me and see if I can hopefully give you some information that will change the way you see your wellness, and make sure that your wellness is not just about physical wellness, but it's all of those aspects around you that create a better well-being. As always, if you would like to reach out to me, you can reach me at 713 Fitness Coaching on Instagram. My web address is 713fitnesscoaching.com. You can check there for workouts, for contacting me, whatever it may be. And of course, you can always come here to the 713 Fitness Coaching podcast. Thank you, family, very, very much. It is always my pleasure. I want to wish you a happy new year, and let's take care of one another.